Hello YouTube and welcome to my channel. As you can see by the name, I went by Impressive MC. I used to make music and focus on music a lot, but I ended up switching up a little bit and went to school for information technology, and I actually go by the name of Mulatto Hat 803. You can find that on Try Hack Me. Most CTF events that you see, if you see Mulatto Hat 803, most likely it's going to be me. So originally I'm from South Carolina. I live in Washington State now. I've been here for about 8-9 years. And while I was here, when I first moved here, I didn't have a job. I didn't know what I was going to do. I had a high school diploma, didn't think about college. I was just still kind of wanting to intertwine with music, but music just wasn't hitting the same for me because I moved away from a state and a town in an area that I grew up in and that I was so familiar with, and I had a lot more people and stuff to do, like networking wise. So when I got to Washington State, it was like my mindset just, it wasn't clicking. I tried as best as I could, and that's when I started getting writer's block. So in 2019, I remember this because I remember this was before COVID happened, and I remember I started my journey at Strayer in 2019. So in 2019, I was working as a debt collector, and I know y'all are thinking, debt collector, collecting money, you're a scumbag. At the end of the day, I had a job. I did it for a law firm. I did it for, I think, like 4 years. And when I got into that job, to be honest with you, when I applied, I didn't really know what I was getting myself into. I just did it. I was really good at it because I come from a law background. My dad was, in the military, did 20 plus years and was a military cop, and then got out and went to school and got his investigations diploma. And, he was a criminal investigator. So I already had like knowledge of like court systems and how things work. So it kind of was a good thing for me. It worked out. But I'm going to tell you exactly how this job actually made me want to pursue IT. So it was at a time at the law firm where we had an IT guy. We only had one guy that was there. It was a really small office, and he was at the point of retirement and was leaving the company. So when that was brought up, we were asked by two of the managers that worked on the floor if any of us was interested in it to let them know, and they'll consider and figure out something about it, right? So I told them, I said, hey, I after they told me that, literally probably within like 10-15 minutes, I was kind of fighting in my head. I always had this problem where I'm thinking like, I don't think I can do that or do this. But I ended up going, and I said, hey guys, I'm really good at computers. And mind you, I got my first computer when I was 8. I started making websites off a notepad at 8 years old. I was designing MySpace, contact tables, banners, the whole web page, animating, all of that stuff. I was doing that at a young age. So, and I also got into hacking too, probably around like maybe 10. I did like little basic things. Don't really want to say too much because a lot of y'all will most likely clown me for it. Maybe one day I'll talk about it, but in this video, I'm not going to do it. So I ended up telling them, I said, hey, I'm good at computers. I've always been good at it. I even did like a little internship when I was 12, for the county, for the police department. And I did IT, met a guy named Camille. He was a great guy. He taught me a lot of things when I was there. And I was just like, I'm good at computers. Like people in the company will tell you, like a lot of people in the company, they bring their device to me because they have an issue. We talk about it. I tell them that I can probably figure it out and fix it. And I always end up doing it. So I told them all of that. And I had backup. There was people in the company, the ones that were, bringing their devices saying, yeah, Nick is great. He's fixed my laptop. He's fixed my tablets. He's done all kinds of stuff. Right. So that's brought out into the air. And maybe it was like a week or two later, I got brought into the office, and I was told, they were like, hey, we know that you wanted to try to fulfill that IT position, but unfortunately there's already somebody here in the company that also said that they would like to do it. And they actually have a college degree, they have a certification, and they have more qualifications to, fulfill this role. And unfortunately you don't. So we're sorry to say that you're not going to be able to go into this IT position. Mind you, with me, I don't like failure and I don't like losing. And at that time, when I brought this up, I was about done with collections, because it was like I said, it was already like this was probably like around the 3.5 year mark or so. Right. I was just tired of it. I was like, I thought this would be a good opportunity for me to do something that I'm good at. And so after that happened, a few days, I was like thinking in my head, should I go to college? Should I go to school? What should I do? How do I get certifications? I didn't know anything about that. And so what I ended up doing was I ended up looking for a university. Strayer came up. I looked at it. I said, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to aim and do this, right? So 2019, like I said earlier in the video, that's when I started at Strayer University, and it's 2025 now. And I finished school last year. I got my bachelor's degree in information technology with a focus in cybersecurity. I had a 4.0, graduated with summa cum laude. I did amazing. All A's through the whole time in school. Now, while I'm gonna dial back a little bit too, I'm gonna go back to 2019. So when I was starting to go to school, at first I wasn't like big on trying to find a job or anything. And I honestly didn't even know where or how to begin in IT. So what I did, I ended up going on YouTube. I came across Network Chuck, and when I saw Network Chuck and watching his videos, I was like, man, this guy's enthusiastic. Sounds like he loves what he's doing. He knows what he's talking about. And I came across a video about help desk, and I didn't know like the ins and outs really of IT. I just knew like you could be in cyber or you could be in hacking or a network person. Never knew anything about help desk or system administrative jobs, nothing like that. So when I was watching his videos, I was like, okay, help desk. I need to get into help desk. How can I do this? And he has had videos on it. There was other people I was watching too. And I just remember COVID happened. And when COVID happened, where we were, we didn't get to work from home right away like a lot of other people did. It took a while. And so eventually we did. We ended up being able to work from home. And while I was working from home, it was fine. It was cool. I was like, man, this is great. Like I can do what I want. I can be home. I can feel more comfortable. I don't have to rush to go to work. I can get out of bed, etc. Right? So for a while it seemed good, and I'm in school and I'm just doing my classes. And then after a while, I'm like, man, I'm home. I'm on my own network and I can research what I want to, and I have access to my personal stuff because I'm home. So I decided to kind of change my resume a little bit, and I started firing applications everywhere. I was firing quick. And needless to say, it was probably like maybe 4 or 5 months in. And guys, when I tell you that I felt so defeated, because I knew who I am. I know what I'm capable of. I know how quickly I can pick up on things with technology. I knew I was a perfect fit for this role. And I just remember my girlfriend telling me, she was like, well, it's better for you to just focus on school because that degree will help you, get into that role. And I'm like, no, look, like I'm seeing videos. There's people out there even without a degree that's getting into these roles. And I'm just for some reason struggling. And mind you, like I said, I live in Washington State. This is a technology state. You would think it would be pretty easy to land certain jobs in IT. It really is not. It's so competitive out here. So yeah, after I kind of felt defeated, I still kept going. I still kept trying. And honestly, it got to a point where I started to slack off at work. I wasn't answering the phones. I was like letting the debtors call, and I would let it like sit for a minute and then wait for them to hang up to seem like I was on a call. Cause I knew they weren't really monitoring and stuff like that. They didn't when we were in the office. And in my mind, I'm like, well, they're not really monitoring us. They're probably at home doing whatever anyway. So I'm just going to focus on school and what I want to do and try to get out there. Right. So my boss calls me and he's like, hey, your computer has an update. We had to push out updates to your guys' computers. Can you please restart it? I restart my computer and I go to sign back in. And when I go to sign back in, I'm like, hey, it won't let me sign in. It's not taking my password. He's like, yeah, I know, you're fired. He said, I seen your numbers. I see that you're hanging up on people. I see you're not doing, your job that like you're supposed to. Your numbers are down and you're going to need to turn your equipment back in. Meet me on this date. So I did that. And the crazy thing is he tried to give me a write-up, and I'm like, I'm not going to sign the write-up. If you fired me, why would I sign your write-up? That's crazy. So, and I understand like the logic behind it now. I understand it now. Back then, it was just like that's really stupid. Like, why do that? But, so I got fired literally the next day. I put out an application and I got a call at another collection agency, right? And I worked there for a little bit, and mind you, I'm still firing. And it probably took me at least a year and a half, or maybe it was close to 2 years. It took me when I finally got a phone call. And when I got the phone call and they said for the IT help desk position, like I froze. I'm like, this is it. This is real. Like this is happening. So I did the interview and I did great. And that was my first time getting into IT. I was mind blown. I really think that help desk was really the best option for me, and I felt so grateful because I got fired from one place that I was really good at. I was doing amazing. It was easier for me. And the other collection place was a little different. I didn't like it. I felt like the people there really weren't being genuine. They were just there, right? I mean, they're collectors. Let's be honest. And I got it. So needless to say, that's how I got into IT. So now, what do I think about help desk? So as of now, I got promoted maybe 4 months ago to be a desktop support 2, out of help desk. I got out of help desk now, so I don't do it. So, right now I'm trying to get into cyber, and it's the same thing, like how it was in help desk. I had one interview and that was at my job. And, everywhere else, I have not had an interview for cyber. I had like an opportunity to be a junior sysadmin somewhere in Tacoma. I accepted the offer and then I ended up turning it down because job security. Like I work in the medical field now, and this other business started like in 2016. And my first IT job, I actually was there for a year and they went out of business. And I was one of the people that had to get kicked out because the company went down and they couldn't keep everybody. He had 2 businesses. One of them still stayed. So a lot of us had to go. So my first year of IT wasn't that great and it wasn't that fun. I mean, it just wasn't, to be honest. But what I think of help desk, why I think help desk is perfect, is because it's a perfect start because this is another thing that people really don't understand, nor do they realize, because it took me a while to understand this too. And honestly, like at my first IT job, I know I dogged it out just a minute ago, but my boss gave me some jewels, told me a couple things, right? So the good thing about help desk is you were pretty much like a jack of all trades in IT. You have to know networking. You need to know security. You need to know how to create accounts. You need to know how to disable accounts. You need to know the proper onboarding and offboarding process. You need to understand how to troubleshoot. So you pretty much, you're doing most of those roles. You're just not in the title. You don't have that title. You're just help desk. But that's the good thing about help desk to start out, is to get, first off, it's like pretty much the bottom level, right? You're a level 1 help desk. You answer the phones and you pretty much just, help people remotely, or if they're in the office where you work, you can go to them and help them. So it's pretty much the best way to kind of get your feet wet and start, seeing certain things, because from what I noticed, I've been to 3 different places and you can tell, because first off, most companies use Microsoft. So you're bound to run into like the normal Outlook issues or, Teams issues, things like that, and SharePoint issues. Like most companies have that, right? So you start to kind of grasp those things. So then when you do decide to go somewhere else, or if you want to stay where you are, then you start mastering it. You start getting used to it. And so the thing is, and this is what, if I could go back and I knew what I know, if I would have known what I know now back then, I don't think I would have went to school, but I know that a lot of people right now are getting into these positions without school or without, certifications. But I want to save that topic for another video. And I do have my inputs like the pros and cons of that, right? But in this video, I'm just going to stick to the help desk stuff, and I'm going to probably wrap it up here in just a minute. This was just like a short little introduction video I wanted to bring back. I've been stagnant from YouTube. Like I said, I used to make music and I don't do it anymore. IT is something that I've always been passionate about. I just, for some reason, didn't want to break into it. And it took me into the age of, I think 26, 27 to really be like, yo, like, you're a debt collector. This is not a career. You need to figure it out. And your music's not blasting off, sir. So go ahead and do something useful with your life. Pick a skill that you're good at and go to school for it. And that's what I did. I was landing on either graphic design, which at that time, by that time, it was like, okay, you don't need a degree to be a graphic designer. You could literally build your own website and you can go out and get an LLC and post in Facebook and, you know, build your clients like that, right? So I'm like, okay, I don't need a degree for that. But in IT, it seems like just from what happened, I got denied because I didn't have a degree, nor did I have certifications. I didn't have anything. I was just a basic bum, just hoping for a dream, right? So what I'm trying to say is, if you are trying to get into help desk, and honestly, I'll say this too. No, actually I'm not, because I was going to say desktop support is good too, but I notice things like in certain companies that I've worked in where desktop support normally is like a little bit above help desk in a way, right? Well, depending on where you are. Like I said, some businesses are different. Like I've seen things a little differently. Like where I'm at, it's like complete flip flop from what I'm used to. But I noticed like most people don't know like the basics of like Active Directory. They don't know how to do certain things. They don't know how to read onboarding and offboarding tickets. So that's why I say, you know, start in help desk, and start in help desk. What ends up happening is, depending on, you know, where you are, if you're in the medical field or if you work for like a cell phone company, what tends to happen is most of the time you might end up going to those locations and meeting these people. And so, as a desktop support, maybe not help desk if you're doing it remotely, but if you got to that position, you're more than likely going to start now seeing these people in person. So the best thing about help desk was I was able to build rapport with people in the admin and HR, all different clinics. So it's like, as soon as I left where I was in, you know, admin for help desk, and then went to like one site to work at strictly just for IT stuff, it was easy for me because I knew most of the people by name already. I was able to now, because in help desk, I did more of like remote stuff, and sometimes I got to work from home. So I wasn't physically there. So when I got into desktop support, I noticed things were more hands-on, and I'm actually starting to like that as well. But in help desk, man, thing I'm gonna say is don't give up. If you really want to do it, you can. And I'm gonna touch on different videos, right? So this video, I'm just kind of talking about how I got into help desk and the pros and cons about it, right? I want to do videos on, cause for me, I, even though I have a cybersecurity, like my focus is that, and that's my degree, I'm more into like actually like ethical hacking. Like I said, I started hacking when I was 10. I always enjoyed hacking, and now like my knowledge in hacking is pretty solid. I've played at least last year, I probably played at least 30 or more CTFs. I actually developed a CTF for Strayer, like for the cyber Discord that we have. Developed stuff and helped with an alumni that was in charge of the channel to build it. I played in those. I won first place in those. So for me, what I'm going to end up doing too is making content on how to like create certain challenges for your CTFs. Like if you want to do Wireshark packets, or you want to build like a website and have them try to break through the website, cryptography. I want to go over as much as I can, like my knowledge and things that I have. I know most of it's probably going to be boring, but at the same time, I'm going to try to make it fun and interactive, and, you know, make it a learnable, teachable lesson for even myself and for you guys. So I think I'm going to wrap it up here. If y'all have any questions, like on more about help desk, or you want me to make a video talking a little more on a certain topic, just let me know. Because to be honest, like this, I just came in and I freestyled it. Like I haven't set up my stuff like this in forever, and it kind of feels great. It feels great talking, telling my side of the story on something that I hope that can motivate somebody else to not give up and to keep pushing forward. But yeah, it was all I'm going to say is, even right now, like I'm not where I want to be. I don't want to be a desktop support technician by all means. I really don't. I'm grateful for the position of like having it, but that's not what I want. That's not what my best skill set is in. I'm feeling overqualified in it, and I'm feeling like it's time to try something different in IT, which, like I said, it took me almost 2 years after being in school to get into help desk. It took that long. Now I've just been done with school for not even a year yet. So I'm still, pushing apps out. I'm still networking with people on LinkedIn and trying to see how I can, escape the matrix of getting out of desktop support. And then when I get into cyber and do that, then I can talk about, that's mainly what I want to build this channel and foundation on, is cyber and ethical hacking. That is the main focus. So yeah, like I said, if y'all have any questions, post them down here. I like to respond to people, and it will also help me with another video that I can talk about. Like if y'all want me to talk more about the classes I took in school, or what else do I do? Actually, you know what? I think another video I'm going to work on for you guys is, what do I do on a day-to-day basis to keep my skill set sharp? Because one thing in IT that I will tell you guys is, the moment you slack off, even for like a week or two, when you come back, you're going to see so many changes. Like things change like this now. AI changes so quick now. Everything is changing. So it's like, not saying you need to be glued all the time in front of your computer, but it's very, very essential that you stay on top of your learning. Because if you stay on top of your learning, you do it every single day, even just for an hour, maybe 30 minutes a day. You could do it for 2, 3, 4 hours a day. It's up to you on how you want to do it, right? You will start seeing different improvements in your skill set. You'll start seeing different ways to problem solve and to be able to handle more data inside of your brain. It sounds crazy, but it's true. And like I said, when I used to make music, I used to think that learning was just dumb. There was no point. Like, it's a waste of time. You don't need to do that. Why? For what? Now, at my age, I understand that that's stupid, and I would have slapped myself back then if I could, but I can't. But I'm saying, because a lot of you guys, I'm sure, are going to be young and trying to figure this out. I'm telling you now, like, the best thing you can do is lock in, focus, think about where you want to see yourself in IT. Do you want to see yourself as a network guy? Do you want to be the one that designs? Do you want to be the one that sets up servers and have to monitor them, cyber? Like, think about what you want to do, right? And just do it. Just do it. And life's going to be hard. Shoot, I will eventually talk more, and probably, like I said, the thing is, as a hacker, I claim myself as a hacker. I am a hacker. So I will say I can get, a little bit off topic and talk about like tough things, but I also have to remember, and y'all should also consider this too, right? The more that you tell people about you and your vulnerabilities, it is easy for someone to come in to manipulate you. It seriously is. But I think eventually through time, I would love to tell my story about certain things, because I know it would help people, and that's really what I want to do. Like, I know that I was sent here on this earth to help people, and to also help myself and my family, and to be, a great guy. That's what I know. So I'm hoping that you guys can grow, watch, see how things play out. I hope that you guys can run off with knowledge on your own and start doing the same thing. That's the goal, right? We want to teach, and we need to teach more, and that's the only way that we can grow. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Again, I go by Mulatto Hat 803, And I'm signing out.